Hello, I'm Adrian, and yes, today I am indeed going to be looking at Johnny B Goode, and I'm guessing that for those of you who are familiar with some of my other videos and who've seen my website, it might come as a bit of a shock that I've chosen to look at such an obvious and well-worn tune, simply because for one reason or another I've achieved my admittedly pretty limited YouTube fame as a guitar teacher through looking at more kind of unusual and left field things. But I'm not going to make any apologies for looking at this one. It seems like an appropriate time to look at Chuck Berry's finest hour, and I do actually think that it's good to revisit these classics from time to time. They've become classics for a reason, and by preparing for this video I went back to the original recording. Obviously been playing this song for about as long as I've been playing guitar, but just revisiting it found that I was listening to it in a new way, was picking up and noticing stuff that I'd never heard before. So it's definitely worthwhile to re-listen to these tracks and not to take them for granted, I think. So obviously Chuck Berry, guitar genius, probably one of the most influential guitar players of all time, I think. And I would say that it's important for every guitar player to know a little bit of Chuck Berry and to know what his playing style is about. Even if it's something that you end up hating and want to rebel against and do the opposite, you've still got to know all about Chuck Berry, I think, no matter what style of guitar you want to end up playing. So sure, there must be a boatload of other Johnny B Goode lessons on YouTube, although I haven't checked. Maybe this is the only one. Wouldn't that be nice? But what I'm going to try and do in this lesson is I'm going to try and make it as accurate and as complete and as exhaustive as possible. So I'm going to split this over 3 videos. This video I'm going to look at that famous introduction. In the next video I'm going to be checking out some of the rhythm guitar stuff, and in the final video I'm going to be looking at the guitar solos. So enough chat, let's get on with it, and I'll show you how it's done. So we're in the key of B flat, and the entire tune is based around standard 12-bar blues chord changes. Most of this introduction is played in and around the 6th position here, and maybe we can just get our bearings to start with. You could think about just playing this B flat bar chord here, and one way of looking at the notes in this introduction is to think about it in terms of the notes in the B flat minor pentatonic scale, which I'm sure a lot of you already know, and we're mixing that with notes that are found in the B flat major pentatonic scale. That's one way of thinking about it. Alternatively, you could just think about the notes in that B flat chord, the chord tones, and then about adding in extra notes to those basic chord tones. So you're adding in the 6th, the 7th, the 9th, and so on. But let's get to the actual music then, and I'm going to break this down for you phrase by phrase, so that the first phrase goes like this. So we're starting off with these 3 notes, which act as a little bit of a lead-in or a pickup. I'm sliding to the 7th fret on the G, and then I'm playing 6 to 8 on the B. Doing that with my 2nd finger, then index finger to 3rd finger. And as I said, it's kind of a pickup, so we're actually coming in on the upbeat of 3. If you want to count yourself in, you've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then the downbeat of the tune is here, and we've got this series of double stops now. I'm playing the 6th fret on the top 2 strings, just barring that with my index finger, and we've got really groups of 3 rhythm here. So I'm sliding in to the first double stop here, playing it 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and I'm doing that again, and then one more time. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, sliding into the first beat of each of those groups of 3. Now the interesting thing here is, although it's a group of 3, we're playing it in a straight 8-note rhythm, which creates this nice kind of a rhythmic displacement kind of effect, which actually crops up a lot during the course of this song, and it's one of Chuck Berry's kind of rhythmic trademarks, I think. So just that first bit, we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 playing that one more time on the downbeat of the second bar. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Then we're kind of coming down this kind of minor / major pentatonic scale here. We've got 9, 8, 6 on the B, 6 to 7 on the G, and then 8 on the D. You could possibly play that 8th fret note twice. I think if Chuck does play it the second time, it's very, very quiet the second time. You might want to add that in there though. So we have this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I'm playing this all with my first 3 fingers there. I'm just stretching up to my 3rd finger for that note. If you wanted to, you could get your little finger involved here as well. But that's the first couple of bars. So if I just put all of that together in time, we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and on into the next phrase, and we've got some more double stops. This time we're playing down here on the 8th fret of the A and the 8th fret of the D. We're really just playing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and just steady 8th notes. I can just about hear the 7th fret on the G coming through there as well on that last upbeat of 4. So leads me to think that Chuck's probably just holding down that kind of I guess it's like an E chord shape played a bit higher up the neck, and then you can just let that G string ring occasionally if you want to. No slides into any of these notes, I don't think, but you've still got that group of 3 kind of feeling, so you could bring that out with accents of the pick, just playing some of these double stops a little bit harder. So I'm kind of going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, just on the first of each of those groupings, playing a little bit harder. Just adds a bit more interest to it, otherwise it will be completely flat. Hasn't really got any groove or rhythmic interest, but if you add in those accents, it really does make all the difference. Next little bit goes like this. Lovely little lick, this one. So again, sliding up to the 7th fret on the G string, then we've got a series of double stops. I'm playing 6, 8, 6 on the B, and at the same time I'm just holding down the 7th fret on the G and playing those as double stops. So I think that first slide is a single note and the rest is played as double stops. Then I've got 5 to 3 on the G and then 5 on the D, and you can approach that just with a little backward slide to get again a really nice touch, I think. So we're playing the double stops up here, and then with the 3rd finger I'm just sliding down to the 5th fret on the G, 3, 5. Again, all of that is quite simple rhythmically. It's just mainly 8th notes, I think. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Then we're into some more kind of trademark Chuck Berry stuff. It's this lick. So what's going on here is we've just got a couple of different notes. We've got a bend here at the 8th fret on the G string. It's kind of a 2 fret bend, and then after that we're playing the F note here, the 6th fret on the B. Really just going back and forth between those 2 notes. This is one of those bends that you want to try and cut the bend off at the top. So whether it's by touching it with the pick or the palm of your picking hand or just releasing pressure slightly with your left hand. I think it's kind of all 3 of those things for me. And we're just going back and forth between those 2 notes really. I think most of the time it's just 2 single notes that I'm hearing. but occasionally you can hear the double stop in there. So instead of just the B string, you can hear the 6th fret on the top string as well. So straightforward enough, but I think again that the really cool thing about this is the way it works rhythmically. Although we're just playing this pair of notes, Chuck is kind of playing with the rhythm, and you've got this interesting sort of displacement thing going on. So if you do run into difficulties playing this introduction, this is probably where it will happen. I think you're lucky, I think, if you can just feel this stuff and pick it up by ear. But if you need to, just kind of listen to it over and over again, count out these rhythms until you can really feel where the beat is, because with all this displacement stuff, it's quite easy sometimes just to lose track of where the one is and where the beat is. The rhythm Chuck is playing goes something like this. We've got 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Then in the second bar it's 1, and 2, and 3, 4. Kind of sounds weird when I slow it down and break it down like that, but speed it up and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Again, might take a little bit of work just to get the feel for that if this kind of rhythmic stuff is unfamiliar to you. But that's the next 2-bar phrase, and then the 2 bars after that are exactly the same. So we do all of this twice. Then we've got the final little phrase, which goes like this. So we're starting that phrase with a bend. Again, the 8th fret on the G string, a tone bend. Then I've got 6 on the top string, 9, 8, 6 on the B, 8, 6 on the high E. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Incidentally, as far as the right hand picking goes, I think most of this I'm playing with down strokes of the pick. I think that just creates the right kind of feeling for this song. You can just dig in with all down strokes on those 8th notes. I don't think there's much call for any upstrokes. I might occasionally throw in an upstroke here and there, but for the most part it's all digging in with the downstrokes. So carrying on, we've got 9, 8, 6 again on the B, 8 on the G, and then sliding into 7 on the G. And then we've got a little quick kind of flurry of notes. It's 7 on the G, and then 6 on the B, 6 on the high E. I'm actually playing this with a little rake or sweep of the pick in my right hand. Then I'm playing the 9th fret on the B, sliding down to the 8th fret. So then double stop on the top 2 strings. Then I'm bending that 8th fret note on the G again, double stop on the top 2 strings, do that again, then double stop 8th fret on the B and the G, double stop 6th fret on the B and the G, and then a quick hammer on to the 7th fret on the G. So, and then finally just playing the B flat at the 8th fret on the D. So let me just put all of that phrase together for you slowly. We've got the counting, we've got 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and a 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. So that's the introduction for you. I'm just going to put that together nice and slowly in time. So 1 and 2 and 3. A little bit faster. So that roughly is how it's done, and I'm going to leave it up to you how nerdy you want to get with this thing. Whether you want to go really deeply into it and play it exactly as Chuck plays it, or whether you just want to capture the general spirit of it and do it in your own way, or perhaps go somewhere in between those two extremes. I think if I were playing this song in a covers band, which I have done many times, then I'd probably try and get some of those signature parts in there note for note, but I'd also put a little bit of my own spin on it as well. So I'll leave that up to you to have a play around with. You want more Chuck Berry, more Johnny B Goode, then I'll see you in part 2 when I'll be looking at some of the rhythm guitar parts. But bye-bye for now.